would you be happy to introduce yourself to kick us off? Thank you very much.
Maybe I could get my slides out.
Yeah.
We do that
Good to
in
go.
due time. Good. Yes, so my name is Niels Brügger. I come from Denmark, so I'm probably the one coming from the first way today. I work as a professor in media studies at the University of Aarhus in Denmark. Probably not familiar with cities of Denmark, but it's the second largest city of Denmark. And I have a background which is, in a way, has nothing to do with the web and the internet. My background is in French language and culture and history of ideas. For various reasons, I drifted into media studies, and then none of my colleagues at the time, late 90s, were studying the internet, so I thought, okay, I'll go for that. It's new. So that's sort of my background, and I then focused particularly on the history of the internet, and more particularly on the history of the web. So I am working with trying to write the history of the first 5 years of the Danish web from 1995 to 2000. Yeah, that was a little bit of background. If I could have my slides.
Yeah, if you click.
If I click, they should be there.
Get your slides up.
Yeah. So, I am actually speaking to you today in a slightly different capacity than as a researcher, because I am the managing editor of a journal called Internet Histories. So I've been asked to introduce you to what is this journal, what do we do, how could that be beneficial for you. So the journal Internet Histories, and I just remarked here in the heading, who cares about the history and archive of the internet? Well, I can tell you this journal does. It's actually a journal about the history of the internet. So, yeah. So a few words about how it all started, then what is the journal, and how you can benefit from this journal. It started in 2010 as an idea I got. I was editing this book about the history of the web called Web History, and I had an epilogue towards the end. And in that epilogue, I wrote, what do we need if we want to push forward the history of the web, the writing of that history? And one of the things, the one that is underlined, is that we should have some infrastructure to support us, like conferences and stuff like that. And also I mentioned an international peer-reviewed journal. It didn't exist at the time, so I thought, well, someone should make such a journal at some point. That was in 2010, and later on, 2013, I then sort of started to put my ideas, my vague ideas on paper. And this is the very first draft. As you can see, it's kind of more like a template or placeholder for an idea of a journal in November 2013. So I'm just giving you a little bit of insight in how long time it takes to set up a journal. That was in 13. Then later on in, oh, you can't see the year, but I think it's in 2014, I made the first substantial draft of a proposal for a journal to be sent to a publisher, which was Taylor and Francis. And we did that. I had then also rounded up some people who would like to do it with me, we were four, all of us. We did get the proposal back with comments from 3 reviewers, I think. In 2015, we were asked to do some amendments, which is what we did in this paper here. And then the final paper, or the final proposal, was out in 2016. And in the same year, we signed a contract. So it took roughly 6 years from I got the first idea to we had a journal. 3 years from we started putting it on paper until we had a journal. Anyway, 2016, the journal started, or it actually, the first issue came out in 2017. This is from the release of the first issue of the journal. I don't know if you can see where it is. Some of you can. At least one of you can. Jane Winters, you can see the small model in the background. It's a Senate House. So it was actually released here in London at a conference organized by Jane Winters. And so this is the first time that people could see the journal. So I thought I'd better show you that picture here in London. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the editors. it is me, and then it's Gerald Duggan, who is from University of Sydney in Australia. Valérie Schaffer, who is from, or was at the time from Paris. She's now in Luxembourg. And Megan Sapner-Ankerson from the US. And we had a book review editor, Ian Milligan from Canada. So what is it, the journal? This is the aims and scope. I'm not going to read it aloud, just to give you an impression. You can find it on the website of the journal, what it's all about. But basically, it's about writing any sort of history about the internet with a focus on culture, in culture at large, you could say, and media and technology. So it's sort of an humanities, arts, social science-like journal. And importantly, it's in the plural, so it's Internet Histories, which is important, was important for us. The first idea was actually only Internet history, but the publisher sort of asked us to do it in the plural because there are so many histories out there. And of course, you know that. Next thing was that this is the International Editorial Board. As you can see, at least two of them are here in the room. Bill Dutton and and I'm the managing editor, and now we have shifted so that the editors are now Anat Ben David from Tel Aviv in Israel, Ian Milligan has become the editor, Valérie Schaffer is still there. We have a new editor of book reviews, Emily Maimora, and then we have an assistant. So this is the inaugural issue, and what we did in that issue was we asked all the members of the editorial board to submit a small piece, 4,000 words, about how did they see internet histories, what were the possible agendas to take up, etc. And I think it was actually quite a good issue. It was later published as a book by Routledge. We publish 4 issues per year, all in all 96 pages. And yeah, that's it. To give you a bit of insight in what kind of articles do we publish and how popular are they. The one to the left is the most read articles, and the one to the right is the most cited articles. This is top of the list. You can go and find it on the web with an even longer list. We do not publish open access unless people pay for it, unfortunately. But as you can see, the orange ones in the left one is the ones where people have paid for getting it bought out for open access. And as you can see, it actually has an impact. People, they just read it more if it's open access. We know that. Metrics, a few metrics. I'm not going to go into detail with that, but 58,000 annual downloads, which is quite good for a journal which is only 7 years old. An impact factor, we just got that last summer, so it's very low, but it's there. I'm especially very happy that we are in the best quartile of the site score, which is quite good. And then you can see how quickly we are when performing the review and all that. Acceptance rate is 77%. We struggled a little bit in the beginning, the first 3-4 years, to get it below 100. Because there were not that many people submitting journal or articles to the journals, so we had to accept them all. Of course, they went to a review and all, they were good, but still. But now we actually receive a lot of articles that we can reject, which is in a way kind of good. So how can you benefit? Last point here, how can you benefit from this journal? We welcome, of course, any submission within the topic, the aims and the scope of the journal, so feel free to do that. We also welcome proposals for special issues. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second. You can look at the journal's webpage about the journal, where you can find instructions about how you can make a proposal for a special issue. This is a list of the special issues, and I cannot read it from where I'm standing. So the latest one is called Between Marginal and Mainstream. Asian Internet Histories, really interesting topic. Genealogies of online content identification. This one is the Internet and the EU market. Legacy systems, Internet histories, the abandoned, discontinued, and forgotten. and this one was about web archives. It was sort of following up on a research conference. So this is just to give you an impression of what you can do in terms of special issues. We have some in the pipeline already. We have one coming up about museums on the web, exploring the past for the future. And the next one we have lined up is Gender and Internet Web History, edited by Leopoldina Fortunati, Autumn Edwards, and Janet Abate. And then we have one just about to be published where the proposal is about to be published. It's about the history of the internet in the post-Soviet countries. Actually, the editors, the guest editors are from Ukraine, and it sort of has a very strong resonance right now, I would say. Internet History's 10th anniversary. We can celebrate that in a few years. We're going to do what we did with the inaugural issue. We're going to ask all the members of the editorial board to write a small piece, maybe looking back to what they did right for 10 years ago. And I think I have two more slides. We also have an award for those of you who were younger. Internet History's Early Career Research Award, which we reward every second year. We've done it twice. So if you know younger scholars, please tell them that this is an opportunity. The one for 24 is already finished, so to say. It's already been reviewed. But for the next 2 years, 2026, there will be a call again. Special features for the journal, what I would highlight, so to say. We do big book reviews. Of course, that's not that special in a way. We also make interviews, and I very much like that myself. I think this is maybe a good forum to mention that in. We have done an interview almost in each of the issues with someone who has been relevant or important in the history of the internet worldwide. It has been really a pleasure to make all these. I haven't made them, but to have them in the journal. All the interviews that we had made up until 1 year ago were published as a book called Oral Histories of the Internet. It came out a couple of years ago. So you can see all the interviews if you want. Finally, we have what we call roundup discussions. You know what a round table is. So we thought, okay, how to do that in the online world? Well, we call it a round document. So we set up a Google Doc. We have some questions in it, and we then invite some 7-8 people to join in to write their comments to each of the questions, comment the other ones, comments, etc., etc. And we have made a couple of those, and it works extremely well. It's actually as if people are sitting in the same room speaking to each other. So it's a format that we have used a lot. Last thing is that we will start doing what we call, what the publisher called special collections. It's a way of reusing what we have already in the backlog, in a way, taking articles that we have published and then making a special issue, special collection out of them. We invite people from the editorial board to set up a special collection about whatever topic they can find articles in our backlog. So I'm very much looking forward to that. We're going to do that. As you can see, I actually wrote next year, but it's actually this year. I think that was the call for you. If you want to submit articles, feel free. If you want to submit proposals for special issues, I would recommend to do that. And contact me if you have anything you'd like to discuss about the journal, good ideas. We're very open for good ideas. I think that was the last slide.
Thank you, Niels. Just briefly, can you just indicate the website address for people who want to know more details about this?
I would be pleased to, but I don't remember it. I always search Internet Histories in the browser and then it pops up.
No worries. So maybe, Tom, for the proceedings, you could include the web address so that people can follow through. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to say, let's move to the next speaker, and we'll come back for a round robin panel session after that. So if the next speaker would please stand up. Brian Sudlow, please, if you can step forward. Brian's going to speak briefly